Hi everybody, welcome to another video. Today we have our GTA 5 game test on our IdeaPad 3. To be honest, I was actually surprised at the results for this gaming test. Everything held up really well. Don't expect like super high FPS, but I didn't see any stuttering. I didn't see any like lag or anything like that. So let me show you guys. With the first test, we did a 720p. So VSync was off, pretty much everything was off, and high resolution shadows was off. So the first test, you can see that RAM usage was about 4 gigabytes. It does go up. I would say about 4 or 5 gigabytes was being used. GPU was about 1 out of 2 gigabytes, so close to 50%. The CPU is actually surprisingly good. It didn't stutter or anything. It did reach 80, 90, and 100%, but I didn't see any major lag or anything like that. We've tested other laptops before and we've experienced like stutters and lag, but this laptop has done a good job. FPS, you're looking at 30 or less. There were some scenes where it's a little bit over 30 FPS, but I wouldn't expect too much at 720p. In my opinion, I would totally game at 1080p on this laptop. I will show you guys the result. Oh yeah, keep in mind, again, with the hard drive, as previous tests, it took like a couple minutes just to open up the game. So the initial boot up time was slow, but once you're in the game, looks like it held up pretty well in the 20s, FPS wise. So I was actually surprised, to be honest. I was expecting it to stutter or crash on me for the 1080p resolution test even, but I didn't see any stutters, nothing major anyways, nothing that I noticed right off the bat. As you can see, like right now in the jet scene, it's actually at 30 and hitting 40 FPS a few times there, but which actually surprised me, especially for this laptop. I wasn't expecting too much out of this laptop, especially after the Fortnite test where we had a lot of bugs and stuff and a lot of lag. For GTA 5, I was actually pretty impressed. But yeah, RAM usage, you're definitely looking at 4 or 5 gigabytes, so expect the computer to be worked up a lot. The CPU, like I said, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100 a few times, but I didn't see any freezing, so that actually shocked me a lot. So definitely enjoy the footage. Nothing too major, and to be honest, it looked pretty good to me. Like if you guys remember the HP 2020 laptop test with the AMD Athlon Silver, where like the ground would disappear and stuff, that did not happen in this Lenovo IdeaPad test. So I'm assuming it has something to do with the combination of with the CPU of 3250U. So I'm thinking that's a pretty decent entry-level CPU, and just the basic specs on our laptop. But yeah, it looked pretty good. Like, I didn't see the ground disappear or anything like that. I didn't see any major struggles. And I didn't see it freeze, which, in my opinion, was kind of shocking, But remember, I wouldn't recommend Fortnite on this laptop. GTA 5 seems to be working good with our benchmark test, but like I said, Fortnite, don't do it, who knows how long, if you're gaming on this for like a long amount of time, if this thing's gonna overheat or not. With the FPS test, it's not very long. It took, it's only like 3-4 minutes for the test. So for the 1080p test, we did get the lower FPS, 15, around like 10-15 FPS. RAM was 85%. GPU was a little bit more than a gig, and CPU was holding very good at 40, 50s, and 60s. So this actually surprised me. Definitely a drop in FPS, but at 1080p, you will be able to game on GTA 5. But like I said, if it was me, I would not even bother gaming a lot on this laptop, especially without any upgrades. I do have the parts for the upgrade, so we are going to be upgrading this laptop in a couple of weeks. I know somebody did request Roblox Phantom Forces, I think. So I'm going to try that, record that, get that footage out there, and then we're going to start upgrading this laptop, which it direly needs. With the 3250U, I think the CPU is pretty decent. But as you can see here, look at that FPS drop around 1416. You can definitely notice it compared to the 720. Not as smooth, but like I said, I didn't see a crash or like any major stutters because the CPU was holding on in the 60s. You know, like if you guys remember the AMD Athlon Silver test where like it was just bottlenecking at 100%. So in my opinion, if you are gonna get a entry-level laptop budget-wise, 3250 you definitely, if you can get it, you know, definitely better than the AMD Athlon Silver. If you guys are wondering, this is just my opinion, just based on our gaming tests. You know, like I'm just super surprised. I mean, we did get this laptop for $340 on sale, so I feel like that was a pretty good deal. And we do have another Lenovo laptop coming in, which I went for the Best Buy Excellent open box this time, just to save an extra $40 to kind of see how it is, just to, you know, try it out. But yeah, like I said, look at the RAM usage. You're at 1080p, you're looking at 5.6 gigabytes, which is like pretty much almost reaching the maximum. So I bet you with a RAM upgrade, this thing would be a lot better. But surprisingly, FPS, 18 FPS at 1080p, that is a shocker to me. And I didn't see any, you know, any ground disappearances or anything like that. So, like I said earlier, comparing this to AMD Athlon Silver, I feel like the 3250U CPU, definitely much better. You know, but remember that this laptop, you know, was more expensive than the AMD Athlon Silver HP that we got. We got that for like $240. So it was like $100 price difference right there. So it really depends on what hardware you're also working on. So third test was the 1600 by 900, of course. You could game with this too. You know, it's kind of similar to the 1080p. So if it was me, I'd probably go with 1080p. It really depends. But yeah, long shadows were off. Same thing. And if you notice, FPS wise, it is a little bit better than the 1080p. So you're looking in the early 20 FPSs. But RAM usage was also pretty high, looking at 80%. GPU is a little bit over a gig, and CPU, you can see it reach 80s, 90s, 100. You know, kind of the same. But again, I didn't notice any like ground disappearing or like any of like glitching or anything. So, like I said, I am completely surprised. You know, but pretty good. I feel like you could totally game on this, but not long term. I think long term wise, this thing will, I'm not sure what the cooling is, but you know, especially with that mechanical hard drive, I don't know how well this thing would hold up long term. You know, and I mean, you know, the laptop isn't really meant for gaming, like I've said before. You know, like to be honest, I've been using my other Lenovo laptop even with a RAM upgrade, and I have to say it's been pretty good even with like video editing and stuff. Not as fast as a gaming desktop, which I use. But still, there's definitely something to these Lenovos, especially with the price point. So far so good, not so bad. There's about a minute of footage left. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, more gaming tests and more upgrades to come. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take it easy.